Imagine a little wooden board forgotten in the attic of an old dusty house. You lift the box, and there they are, pieces resembling tiny warriors frozen in time, waiting to fight battle again. But what if I were to tell you that this little board conceals not only a game but the whispers of whole civilizations? The history of chess isn't just the tale of a hobby, it's the tale of human strategy, politics, war, philosophy, and culture. This simple game has crossed continents, outlived empires, evolved to accommodate new patterns of thought, and grown to the global phenomenon we know today. So where did it all come from? Our tale begins in medieval India about 1500 years ago. The first known ancestor of chess was a game called chaturanga, meaning 4 divisions of the army: infantry, cavalry, elephants, and chariots. Each division was represented on the board by a different piece. Chaturanga was not just play. It was a means of mimicking war in order to exercise strategic thinking in warriors and kings. With kingdoms at war and empires being born and destroyed depending on the decision of one man, this game was education and entertainment. But why India? You see, India during the Gupta Empire was a vibrant center of art, science, and philosophy. It was an age when intellectual curiosity reigned and mind-stimulating games were the order of the day. Chaturanga neatly fit into this domain. It was played on an 8x8 board like the current chessboard, although the rules were slightly different. Dice were frequently employed to decide how one moves, so the game became a blend of strategy and fortune, possibly echoing the uncertainties of actual world combat. As Indian traders and scholars traveled, so did Chaturanga. The game spread to the west along the Silk Road and other trade routes. By the 6th century, it had reached Persia. Here it was much changed, and it became known as Shatranj. The Persians adored this game and took it to an art form. Poets wrote poetry about it. Royal courts sponsored tournaments. The randomness of dice was eliminated, turning Shatranj into a game of pure strategy. It was during this time that the famous expression Shah Mat, which translates as "the king is powerless," came into existence and gave birth to the contemporary word checkmate. Persia was a melting pot of cultures and ideas, and Shatranj was right at home. But the winds of history were soon going to blow once again. In the 7th century, the Islamic Caliphate spread over large parts of the world, conquering Persia. Instead of eradicating local culture, the new conquerors absorbed and transmitted it. Shatranj accompanied them along North Africa into Spain and across the Islamic world. In this period, chess started being documented in manuscripts, studied as an intellectual activity, and even taught for moral lessons. By then, the game had sunk its roots into several civilizations. When chess arrived in Europe, it entered a world equally fascinated with the East and suspicious of it. In the early Middle Ages, Europe was fractured, its intellectual life subdued compared to the splendor of ancient Rome or the vibrant Islamic world. But chess emerged as one of those unusual imports that bridge both class and cultural divides. Introduced by the Moors via Spain and by returning crusaders, Shatranj soon had willing new followers. Initially, it was still relatively close to its Persian counterpart, slow, measured, and highly strategic. But something remarkable started to occur. In the European imagination, the chessboard was a metaphor for feudal society's strict hierarchy. The king, queen, bishops, knights, rooks, initially chariots or towers, and pawns mimicked the strict class structures of medieval Europe. The board was a reflection of society, the king in the seat of power, the queen as his bride, bishops for the church, knights as the embodiment of nobility, rooks as the defenders of the land, and pawns as the disposable serfs. But medieval Europeans did not stop with just keeping the game. They started changing it. The most significant change occurred in the late 15th century during the Renaissance. It was an age of great cultural upheaval. The invention of the printing press, the rediscovery of classical learning, and a burst of art and science produced an environment of innovation, and chess developed along with it. One of the most sensational modifications involved the queen. In Shatranj, a counterpart piece, the vizier, had hardly any mobility. But in Europe, the queen was the most dominant piece on the board. Why? Historians argue this was at least partially due to the emergence of powerful female monarchs such as Isabella of Castile. The cultural atmosphere more and more viewed the queen as a figure of authority, and the game adjusted accordingly. At the same time, the bishop's attack was extended to diagonal movement across the board. Pawns were also given the power of moving 2 squares on their opening move, introducing dynamism to the opening. The game was getting quicker, sharper, more thrilling, a better fit for the intellectual vigor of the Renaissance. This was also the time when chess became popular. Printed books such as Repetition de Mores y Art de Ajedrez, 1497, spread the new rules and techniques. chess was no longer exclusive to scholars and nobles. It was now being played in cafes, courts, and clubs, becoming a popular recreation. By the 16th century, the chess of today was shaping up. But despite all this change, the essence of the game remained the same: a clash of minds, a game of wits, and war, a test of patience and vision. And it would go on evolving, crossing Europe to enthrall a whole world. But before that came to pass, chess would become a symbol of intelligence and diplomacy, even finding its way into the political circles of kings and emperors. As chess evolved into its current state, it was no longer a game anymore. It was a symbol of intelligence, diplomacy, and even national pride. By the 17th and 18th centuries, chess had firmly established itself across European society, from royal courts to bustling city cafes. Kings and nobles often used it to project an image of sophistication and strategic thinking. Diplomats played chess with one another as a subtle form of political theater, where every move on the board mirrored the complex maneuverings of real-world alliances and conflicts. One well-known anecdote of this period concerns King Philip II of Spain, who allegedly employed chess games as a means of testing the virtue and forbearance of visiting statesmen. Victory or defeat mattered little compared with the manner in which the player coped with the ups and downs of the game, valuable lessons for any ruler steering the potentially treacherous waters of European politics. The Enlightenment went on to raise chess even further as an intellectual activity. Great minds like Voltaire and Rousseau appreciated the game for its combination of reason and imagination. Chess books were now widely available, and the first full-time professionals started to appear. François-André Denequin Philidor, a French composer and chess genius, transformed the appreciation of the game with his renowned Maxim Pawns of the Soul of Chess. Philidor's books served to divert attention from shallow tactical combinations to long-term positional strategy, a theory that continues to shape chess even today. The 19th century was a turning point. With industrialization and better communication, chess broke its European monopoly onto the world stage. The formation of formal chess clubs, national federations, and international tournaments made it an organized sport from a leisure activity. A turning point was achieved in 1851 with the inaugural international chess tournament conducted in London. It was here that German prodigy Adolf Anderssen amazed the world with his dazzling attacking game, establishing new standards for competitive play. But the most longest-lasting figure of this period might have been Paul Morphy, an American child genius whose short but dazzling career thrilled the imagination of the world. Morphy's games revealed a mixture of elegance, intuition, and unadulterated tactical brilliance. Even though he retired young, many consider him to be the unofficial world champion of his era. His dominance had served to initiate a chess boom in the United States and reaffirmed that the mastery of chess could command international respect. Alongside technological advancements continued to influence the game. The telegraph innovation permitted distant matches occasionally across continents. Immediately, London-based players could match themselves against New York ones without moving out of their city. These innovations not only grew the chess community, but also set foundations for the game that we see as truly global today. As the 19th century came to an end, the chess world was poised for its next great revolution: the emergence of the official World Chess Championship, and the establishment of a new generation of professional players committed to perfecting every aspect of the game. As the 19th century became the 20th, chess came of age as a modern profession and a global force. The culmination came in 1886 when the inaugural formal World Chess Championship between Austria's Wilhelm Steinitz and Poland's Johannes Zukertort took place. Steinitz won and became the first formal world champion. More significantly, he brought a scientific methodology to the game. The days of wins through sheer tactical genius were over. Steinitz contended that chess' principal positional awareness, control of the center, king's safety, existed universally to direct players to success. His concepts formed the basis of contemporary strategy in chess. After Steinitz, a line of golden champions emerged: Emmanuel Lasker, Jose Raul Capablanca, Alexander Alekhine, each building on previous levels of comprehension. Lasker dominated for a record 27 years, combining psychology and strategy. Capablanca stunned with apparently effortless positional play. Alekhine brought in unstoppable attacking techniques. Chess was changing fast, driven by these titanic battles near the top. At the same time, geopolitical developments influenced the world of chess. The two world wars interrupted tournaments and dispersed players around the globe, but the post-war era saw a new era dawn. The Soviet Union, seeing chess as an instrument of soft power, started investing big in it. State-funded training programs, scientific study, and a rich chess culture pushed Soviet players to the top of the international board. Since the 1940s, the Soviets had dominated the game of chess, churning out a string of world champions: Mikhail Botvinnik, Tigran Petrosian, Boris Spassky, and the great Mikhail Tal, whose flamboyant sacrifices thrilled spectators around the world. But most legendary of all may have been the 1972 moment when a Brooklyn, New York upset challenger broke through Soviet stranglehold. Bobby Fischer's contest with Boris Spassky in Reykjavik, Iceland was christened the match of the century. Chess was no longer just about chess. During the Cold War, Fischer and Spassky represented East and West individual brilliance versus state apparatus. Fischer's win charged the globe, putting chess on the front page. For a fleeting moment, chess permeated TV, newspapers, popular culture. The trend continued. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed a new revolution with the advent of computers. In 1997, IBM's Deep Blue defeated world champion Garry Kasparov in a historic match. The era of human-machine competition had started. Now engines such as Stockfish and neural networks such as AlphaZero have revolutionized the way we learn chess, discovering new concepts and threatening entrenched assumptions. But amid all this change, the very essence of chess remains. It is still a war of minds, a test of ingenuity and perseverance. The internet has brought the game to the masses, making it possible for millions to play, learn, and network. Young geniuses crop up from all over the world, and the world of chess keeps expanding. So the next time you place a chessboard, don't just think of the pieces you're putting out. Think of the tradition you're engaging in. One that goes back more than 500 years, one that has survived empires, bridged cultures, and fascinated generations.